Good Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us here on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Alicia Lewis. Right now, parts of Minnesota are cleaning up after severe storms brought heavy rain, hail, and even tornadoes. It's pretty noisy. Minnesota's first severe storm of the season, raining down hail across areas south of the Twin Cities. A viewer in St. Peter sending us this video of the storm. Our Audrey Russo's in Cannon City right now, getting a closer look at what people there are waking up to.
What you're looking at right now is the reason why there's no hail left on the ground. Folks out here tell us that it rained so hard it melted all of the hail and left the ditches full of water and ready to become a mosquito breeding ground later on this year. Now, this is all throughout Rice County. There were reports of hail. People were saying this is the loudest they've ever heard hail. Take a listen to what it sounded like. Yeah, our cameras captured that right in the thick of it in Denison and Cannon City. Now, our cameras also captured some washed out roads, broken windows, damaged roof and siding areas. Now, the hail in some spots was reported to be 3 inches in diameter. And one family we spoke to says that the metal and the plastic components on all of their farm equipment are now dented at best or completely wrecked at worst.
Some of the kids went to the basement because there was tornado warnings and sirens at that point, and it was so loud you couldn't tell what was happening outside.
Now, fortunately, all of their animals were safe, but that certainly sounds like a duck and cover type situation. You can see out here behind me, it's a little tough with the visibility and all of the fog, but there is a tree down in that field over there. Now, the National Weather Service did confirm that there were 3 confirmed tornadoes in southern Minnesota yesterday. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you. And we have new video into the newsroom this morning of a reported tornado out of Amboy, Minnesota. A lot of people spotting this one and sending us pictures and videos of it. This is from our news partners at NPR News at around 6:30 last night. This morning, we're waiting for an update from Spring Lake Park schools after the district canceled classes for a second straight day. Officials say they're still repairing systems after a ransomware attack over the weekend. Our Megan McPherson's at the live desk with what we know.
Yeah, the district is working around the clock right now to restore systems. And meanwhile, classes, childcare, community education, and after-school activities are all canceled. But this isn't the first time that Minnesota schools have been targeted. Rochester Public Schools actually faced a similar cyber attack just a few years ago in 2023. Superintendent Kent Pickell still has some of those ransom messages saved, but he says the pressure went far beyond those threats.
Make up your mind, finally. We are sick of waiting.
Certainly eerie. The district says an outside actor gained access to some of its systems on Sunday, prompting staff to immediately shut everything down to prevent further damage. Crews have been working around the clock and have made significant progress restoring systems. But right now, they say the priority is on safety. One cybersecurity expert tells Kare 11 incidents like this are actually becoming more common in schools. And he says when attacks like this happen, schools should avoid paying ransom and instead focus on securing their systems and protecting data. And with that said, the district does say that it's planning to have students and staff return to school tomorrow and will share an update sometime this afternoon. We'll be watching for that. Back to you.
Developing this morning, we could learn if Chisago County's Teamster Union will hit the picket line. Teamsters Local 320 authorized a strike last week after weeks of negotiations with the county. The union is asking for more competitive salaries and more health insurance benefits. The strike could start anytime between now and midnight, May 1st. The county says they have contingency plans in place to continue critical services. New this morning, we're learning the Rosemount Apple Valley Egan School Board has approved earlier start times for the 2027-28 school year. This is for 2 elementary schools as the district adapts to a bus driver shortage. Woodland Elementary and East Lake Elementary will now start at 7:45 instead of at 9:30. This will go into effect fall of next year. Right now, Brooklyn Park police are searching for a couple who allegedly robbed and carjacked a teenager. It happened on Ladd Parkway near Xerxes Avenue late Saturday afternoon. Police say the teen arranged to sell something over social media to a man and a woman. When they met, police say the couple pulled a knife on him, then took his car. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Right now, the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports and coastal areas is underway, and a fragile ceasefire is holding after negotiations broke down over the weekend. President Trump says Iran wants to make a deal, but Iran says America's demands are too much. Alice Barr has the details from Washington.
Hi there. Escalating turmoil in the Strait of Hormuz is just one obstacle to peace, as today critical talks begin here in Washington, aiming to end Israel's fight against Iran-backed militants in Lebanon. A pivotal moment in the war with Iran, as American warships stationed just outside the Strait of Hormuz are blocking any vessels attempting to come in or out of Iranian ports, aiming to cut off the country's oil exports, its economic lifeblood, and force a peace deal. President Trump saying Monday the right people had called.
They would like to work a deal.
Vice President J.D. Vance led the U.S. team in direct talks that broke down over the weekend, saying it's up to Iran to accept the administration's red lines of dismantling the country's ability to develop a nuclear weapon and removing its enriched uranium.
They moved in our direction, which is why I think we would say that we had some good signs, but they didn't move far enough.
Iran is calling the partial blockade of the strait an act of piracy and warning no port in the Gulf is safe while it's in place as oil prices climb. While another key sticking point moves center stage today, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio mediating talks in Washington between Israel and Lebanon, seeking an end to fighting with Iran-backed Hezbollah militants that threatens a broader peace deal. All amid President Trump's war of words against Pope Leo, accusing him of being weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy.
Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran.
The first American pope responding to a question from NBC News.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel.
He has vocally criticized the war and pushed for peace. President Trump says he won't apologize to the Pope, as lawmakers in both parties have urged him to avoid a conflict. Vice President J.D. Vance, himself a Catholic, insisted it's possible to respect the Pope and maintain good relations with the Vatican, while at times disagreeing. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this morning, two congressmen, California Democrat Eric Swallwell and Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez, are resigning from Congress. Democratic Representative Eric Swallwell of California says he is out following sexual assault allegations. His resignation comes hours after the House Ethics Committee opened an investigation into his actions. Gonzalez wrapped up in his own scandal. He's been under investigation for having a relationship with a former senior aide in his congressional office. That staffer later died by suicide. Developing this morning, the Ramsey County Attorney's Office is launching an investigation into ICE after a Hmong American man was arrested in St. Paul. Right now, officials are looking into possible kidnapping, burglary, and false imprisonment charges. They say ICE agents took Chongli Scott Tao, a U.S. citizen, from his home wearing just shorts and Crocs, and then drove him around while questioning him for more than an hour. Agents say they had a warrant and were looking for two convicted sex offenders tied to the property. However, Ramsey County officials say there was no evidence a warrant actually existed.
This is novel territory, but like I said, the people up here, we're not going to let it go because we owe it to the people of our community and our state to seek the truth.
Late last month, the Ramsey County Attorney's Office submitted a formal demand to DHS requesting information. DHS has until the end of this month to respond. In a statement to KARE 11, DHS said ICE does not kidnap people and called the move a political stunt. An update now to a plane crash at St. Paul's downtown airport we first broke on sunrise yesterday. State Patrol tells us one of their traffic patrol planes crashed while attempting to land at around 2 o'clock yesterday morning. They haven't said what caused it. We do know, however, 2 crew members on board are okay. Well, be sure to stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.